Welcome to r/AskReddit. We have 2 questions for you today. They are both related, but from different threads. Question number 1. How did you lose your virginity? First comment. Freshman year of college. A girl that thought I was cute invited me to a party. She let me smoke her weed, then I bought her a milkshake. Fast forward to that weekend. We hung out again all day, smoked, ate food, watched Pulp Fiction. And then she took my virginity in her car. I didn't come the first time though. So we went to IHOP. After we finished eating, we had sex again, and I did come. Next comment. Chick banged me on a camping trip. We were semi-dating. So we banged, until she got bored of me. Then she split with some other dude. Broke my heart at the time, but looking back she was a total angel. Next comment. I used to be super religious and wanted to be one to wait until marriage. Because of this all of my teenage boyfriends didn't stick around for longer than a month or 2. When I turned 19, I met this guy and we started dating. He was okay with waiting, or at least he said he was. His roommate constantly pressured me and made jokes about not putting my vagina on a pedestal. It was pretty annoying, but no big deal. One day in Walmart, I made a sex joke, and he told me he was going to buy some condoms. We kept them at his house for about a month until our 7th month anniversary. After work I went over there, and we did the deed. I worked at Papa John's at the time, so I smelled like pizza, and it wasn't very sexy lol. It definitely wasn't what I expected. Didn't really feel good at all. Actually took a few months of it before it felt good. I'm not with the guy anymore, but I don't regret not waiting, because he always treated me good and was a kind guy. Next comment. Me and my now wife were in high school, and we just kind of did it. She was freaking out because her parents made sure to teach her all the shame and evilness sex brought. We later agreed to wait a while before we would start having sex again. Later that night we had what we consider our first sexual experience and just had fun. Next comment. Back in high school, my 2 best friends came over to drink and hang out. Eli invited 2 girls. We got tipsy, and me and this one girl started getting cuddly. Everyone could tell that we were fixing to hook up. So they all left my room eventually, and we banged. And then we went out for a while and banged some more. Honestly the perfect way to lose your virginity, if you ask me. Next comment. Girl in college. She was a little chubby and very busty and must have had a thing for chubby dudes to be hitting on me. She got on top for the first time and pushed a donut into my mouth during, which started me on a slippery slope. Next comment. With my first girlfriend in college. I've got to say, it's difficult as a tall guy in a lofted bed, especially since those dorm beds creak like an MF. Lasted half an hour, so that's cool. Next comment. It was short. My grandmother called right before it happened, and I picked up for some reason. My dad came home in the middle of it as well. Only time me and her did it too. Next comment. Met a girl in USAF tech school. Had sex with her in a hotel room. I threw up before in the bathroom because I was so nervous. Anyway, I married her 5 months later and divorced her 3 years after that. Next comment. I lost mine at a work Christmas party. Had so much alcohol that I blacked out and briefly came to banging this girl raw that I'd had feelings for. Don't even know how I pulled that off, but apparently she enjoyed it, and based on the fact my balls were drained for a few days, so did I. Low-key worried, cause I know I didn't have protection that night. Lol. Question number 2. What age did you lose your virginity, and how did it happen? First comment. Late teens. Another gentleman and I, both virgins, enjoyed adult relations to Pink Floyd, Animals. We got some time alone and did that. Next comment. I, female 34, was a few days from being 18 and I was tired of being a virgin. It was less than spectacular. He was too nervous and lost his arousal. Next comment. I was 21 attending a local broadcasting trade school, and there was a girl in my class that I had a crush on. Surprisingly, the feeling was mutual, and one day after class she got us a room, read, cheap, hourly, hooker motel, outside downtown Detroit, and 6 of the 9 TV channels were porn. Definitely an experience lol. Next comment. Everyone here seems to be in their mid/late teens, but I, 29 male, lost mine at 21 to a girl in college. Most of the people I slept with actually said they lost it in their mid-20s, but they are older than me. One woman I dated actually lost her virginity at 30. In all instances, we had a discussion before doing it. Never had a one-night stand. I had bad sex and good sex. People have called me handsome and hot, but I don't see it too much. I don't work out too much, and I have been rated 7 out of 10 by a few people. So I'm definitely not a model by any stretch. I bring this all up because I want to address the nervous guys on here that feel like they'll never have sex in their lives. My advice? Relax, you'll be okay. Follow through in things you like, and put a mild effort into your appearance. $80 at Target goes a long way for clothes and exercise equipment. Go ahead and ask her before you make each step. Date. Make out. Sexy time. If she says no, stop making moves on that girl, and you got to move on. It won't be easy, but you'll get there. Remember, the girl you want to sleep with might have the same sentiment to you as well. That's what makes sex feel so good in my opinion. Next comment. I was 17. I've met a 25-year-old guy online, and I went to his place. We talked for about an hour, and then we had sex. That's what I was hoping for by meeting him. The age difference may seem like he took advantage of me, but that's really what I wanted. He didn't even know that it was my first time. I never saw him again. I didn't like him so much. Next comment. 17 in the back of my girlfriend's car before school, in a gravel lot next to a little league field. Next comment. Well, seems I was a lot later than everybody here. 25. Yup, I was friends with a girl that I met through World of Warcraft, of all things. For a while, I was always at her place to play video games and or chill. I thought I saw signs she might be interested in me, always hugging me, laugh at the stupidest jokes I make, always inviting me to stay and sleep in the same bed. So I finally made a move, kissed her, and moved in permanently the next day. Even though our relationship did not end the way I wanted, we still lasted a good 4 years together. Next comment. I was 19. Looking back, I had several opportunities earlier than this, but I was a total chicken shite when it came to talking to girls. Anyway, I was working in a supermarket in the deli. One night while closing, one of my co-workers approached me and said, "You've had plenty of chances." I'm like, "For what?" I should mention she was 24 and married with 2 kids. She then says, to kiss me. I was a little confused because I had no clue this would be something she'd want until she said something. Anyway, we ended up making out for a few minutes. Then the next day she comes over to my house and we get to it. I was done in about 2 seconds. It was so embarrassing. She was totally awesome about it though, especially since it was my first time. We just kept messing around and went for it again, and it was much better. We ended up hooking up several more times, and I was falling for her. I went into work one night, and she wasn't there. I asked why she wasn't there, and they said she had come in earlier with bruises all over her face, and quit. I never saw her again, but she did call me once like 3 months later. She called and asked if we could be just friends. I was young and heartbroken, so I said no. I sometimes regret that, but it was probably best for me. She never did explain what happened or why she moved suddenly. I can only assume one of her kids told their dad about me. Next comment. I was 18, her 17. Kind of rushed to be honest. I knew our girl was into me and I wasn't totally into her, but we still went out for a drive in my newly acquired 97 Dodge Neon. Well, we had a great drive on country backlogging roads, and at the end of it, it was dark, and I gave her a kiss. Little did I know she was so smitten with me. Before we even left on our date, this simple kiss kicked off the night, and we both lost our virginity on the front seat of my car. The sheer rush of emotions and hormones was too much for me to handle, to be honest, and I flaked on her. She was heartbroken. I was an a-hole. Years later I did apologize after moving away, and she said she forgave me, but I know I was an a-hole, and it will haunt me until I'm old and grey. Next comment. 18 on my wedding night, and it was a huge mistake. I should have slept with him sooner and saved myself a shite marriage and a shite sex life. Next comment. I was 24, was talking to a girl for a few weeks online, and one time we were horny, started sexting, and she said she wanted to come to my city and have sex. I said okay, made a reservation at a hotel, as I was living in a dorm with 2 other guys in the room. Spent the night there. It was great. She knew I was a virgin before, and she didn't mind. Next comment. I was 20, had my first time with my first ever girlfriend at her house while her mom was at home. So it was risky, but no risk no fun, right? Oh, and she was on her period, and I lasted like 20 seconds, lol. Wasn't as nice as I imagined, to be honest. Next comment. 19, and I'm not quoting Mallrats when I say this, but it was in the back of a Volkswagen, a 1966 VW Bug to be specific. My legs went numb from the lack of leg room, so I couldn't even finish. Next comment. I was 17. I lied to my boyfriend of 2 years. He thought I had experience and was a year older than me. He still doesn't know he punched my card. We are still friends, but I think bringing this up 18 years later might be awkward. Next comment. 17. On the couch after a house party, watching one of my favorite movies. Was going pretty well until a friend walked in, and as a reflex, I threw the girl off me mid-stroke. I didn't get much further that night after that. But, doesn't matter. Had sex. Next comment. I was 20, and it was with this guy I would hang out with from time to time. It was kind of non-consensual. He pressured me into it. I ghosted him afterwards, and never saw him again. LMAO. Next comment. In a garden shed, with my 6'3" very handsome male friend I'd had a crush on for a long time. Exhilarating, but also tiring. I didn't realize sex was such heavy exercise. Everyone told me it was something painful to be terrified of. It wasn't. Not at all. No one told me to do some damn plyometrics. Next comment. 21 years old. Late, I know. Dating and girls weren't a priority for me when I was in high school. Wasn't the type of guy to sleep around either. I wanted my first time to be with someone I cared about. My first real girlfriend. Long distance. We met while I was in the Marine Corps. Friend of a friend that came to visit him. We talked about sleeping together a lot. Just needed an opportunity when we were together. My family was a total COCK block. My mom would cancel her personal plans to make sure she stayed home with her and I, to prevent us from being by ourselves. Annoying, right? My mom had an errand to do, so obviously we were up at like 8 AM on the way to buy a condom. I lasted like a minute. Felt embarrassed, but she said it was okay and was glad that we got to make that connection. Relationship lasted almost 3 years. The only other girl I've been with. Lol. Next comment. At 17 I had sex with my then girlfriend. We waited for her mom's court date, so we could have enough time. We broke up 2 days later. Next comment. 18. I had a guy friend I had made out with a few times when we were drunk or on Molly, and I just wanted to get my first time over with, so we did it. Lol. Next comment. 18. At my parents' house when no one was home. It was my girlfriend at the time, who had also given me my first BJ. I lasted maybe 10 seconds, and I think I came like 10 times in under 4 minutes. It was insane, and probably super disappointing for her. We dated for a while though, so maybe not. Next comment. 29 years, last year. Been dating my boyfriend for 2 weeks, then decided it is time to have sex. First time was awkward, but with time the sex got better. We are still together. Next comment. 19 years old on a drunken coke-fueled bender. Random girl I met in the bar. Wound up doing her in my car in the parking lot. Next comment. I just turned 18. So my boyfriend at the time, older than me, decided that it was the perfect time to have sex with me. No one could say that he had sex with a minor. So, he took me out to dinner, and then when he dropped me off at my door, he demanded that I let him in to have sex. He made a scene, and I couldn't say no. So I agreed to go to a hotel with him. I must clarify that it was a couple's hotel. So while I was mentalizing myself to have sex and see a penis for the first time, I heard women moan or scream everywhere. The experience was horrible. Next comment. 19. We were driving back from swimming at her relative's place, and we ended up talking about having sex. But I was staying at a friend's house, and we were an hour from her house. So we ended up having sex in the backseat of her Ford Expedition, in the parking lot of some hardware store. True story, I managed to last 30 minutes, but that's only because I caught a leg cramp halfway through. Fun times. Next comment. 20. About 2 months ago, my girlfriend and I had been dating for just over a year. We had done sexual stuff pretty much since we started dating, but never had sex. Then about a week after our 1-year anniversary, we were getting extra freaky, and I asked, should I just grab a condom? Unfortunately she did break up with me a couple weeks ago. Won't give details, but I'm much better now. But that was the first time for both of us, and personally, even if we never get back together, I'm glad I lost my virginity to someone who loved me for me. I know that sounds jack backwards considering the breakup, but trust me on this. It wasn't even a bad breakup, and she did it in the most gentle way possible, wishing me the best before she hung up. Next comment. 19. She was a 34-year-old supervisor who invited me out to lunch one day. I work second shift, and while eating my salad I casually asked, "What did you want to talk to me about?" Figuring it was something to do with work. She replied, "I want to blank your brains out," and I stopped chewing, swallowed, then said, excuse me, I'm not sure I heard you right. I was crunching a couple of croutons. So would you mind repeating what you just said to me, please?" She smiled and did, and I grinned and said, "Okay, I did hear you correctly." She replied back, "Well." I looked at her, smiled, and said, "Hell yeah." Thanks for listening.